Greetings, Benjamin J from BENZTRAINZ with another in the series. Well, I want to do a quick follow-up video on that Marx 400 that arrived, I don't know, a couple days ago. Thing was in fair condition. The shell is fair. It's got a crack on one side, as so many of them do, right there, as you can see. Anyway, so I pulled the motor out of the 400, took the motor that I'm pulling the wheels off of, as you can see. Now this was in that Canadian Pacific that I derusted. So I pulled the front crossbar off of it and transferred it to the motor out of that 400. Now the crossbar off of this motor, the Canadian Pacific, will fit the Marx 999. So I have this old 999 shell. You can see I've scraped the rust off of these push rods. This motor, as you see, is just coated in oil, trying to break down some of this rust. Anyway, went up to Walmart, got some new 632 screws, and I've mounted that motor in this Marx 999 shell. So getting ready for its first trip around the rail. Now this is built completely from junk. An old motor out of a Marx 400, the crossbar off another old motor, and an old Marx 999 shell. So there is no front truck, there is no rear truck, but this thing is made completely out of junk parts. And of course, the result is a really decent running 999 that cost me virtually nothing. And as you see, this thing's running absolutely splendidly. As a working E-unit, working headlight, that motor was covered in rust, and yet it's running really, really well. I've got the side plates literally saturated in oil to break some of that rust down. Anyway, this is the result. A really decent running Marx 999 made completely out of junk parts. It's really difficult to beat that. And as I always stress, don't overlook the junk. You know, you can do this on an absolute shoestring budget just by doing stuff like this. Amalgamate all your old junk parts into one running locomotive. So, in any case, I'm pulling the wheels off of this motor and scrapping it, using it for parts. Took the crossbar off and put it on that motor out of that Marx 400 and dropped it into this 999 shell. And as you see, this is running absolutely splendidly. Now, this is running like a brand new locomotive. And if there was ever a junk locomotive or a locomotive made out of junk, this is it. As you see, it actually doesn't look bad. It runs splendidly. It has plenty of power. As you see, that's pulling 10 Lionel cars at about 30% power. This is running absolutely splendidly. It's smooth, it's quiet, and it was free. Hard to beat free, no matter where you are. Anyway, I just want to do a quick follow-up video on the junk locomotives. I've got more coming. So anyway, just goes to show, as I always stress, don't overlook the junk. Just by taking a lot of junk parts and amalgamating them into one locomotive, you can build yourself a really decent locomotive, as you see, and it costs you virtually nothing. And this is running splendidly. This is running really, really well. No doubt. So, an old, rusted, really, really terrible condition motor. Got it cleaned enough to run, as you see. Like I said, I have saturated this in oil just to break down some of this rust. There's lots of it on there. And just saturate this in oil, let it set for a day, and you can take a small screwdriver, literally just scrape all this away. It only takes a few minutes. So I scraped the push rods. These things were just alive with rust, as you can probably no doubt tell. But in any case, mounted in a Marx 999 shell, went up to Walmart, got some 632 screws. Surprisingly enough, Ace Hardware does not have slotted 632 screws. They have everything but slotted. They've got hex head, Allen head, torque head, but they do not have straight slotted 632 screws. Walmart does. Explain that. I have absolutely no idea. Anyway, these things are $1.16 for a bag full of them. And The Marx locomotives, of course, use 632 screws. All of the mounting screws are 632. So if you want to, you can just take these and chop them off. These are a 1/2 inch. Just cut them off to whatever length you need. And like I said, Ace does not have slotted 632. They have everything but slotted 632 screws, which makes absolutely no sense to me at all. And Walmart has them. In any case, just wanted to do a quick follow-up on putting all these parts together into one running locomotive. As you see, this isn't just running, it's running absolutely splendidly. So you can touch up that paint, you have yourself a brand new Marx 999, missing the front truck. In fact, there is no mount for the front truck on that crossbar. But even so, it gives you a running locomotive made completely out of junk parts. So as you see, this is running perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. And technically cost me nothing. So I just want to do a quick follow-up on this. As I always stress, don't overlook the junk. You can do this pennies on the dollar just by doing things just like this. So just a quick video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.